guys, welcome to Zakai Maths. Today we're going to be going through some GCSE Maths warm-ups for Foundation Paper 1. This means that we're not going to be using the calculator, so I'm just going to go through each question for you, and if you would like to make some notes, that will be great. So we're going to start off with some fluency questions, and we've got converting from kilometers to meters, centimeters to millimeters. We've got some negative numbers here, fractions and parts of a circle, so I'm just going to go through with you. Starting off from the left-hand side, top left-hand side, I'm just going to start off with the conversion of kilometers to meters. Let me just get up a pen. So in 1 kilometer, there are 1,000 meters. And if that's the case, for 5 kilometers, it's going to be times it by 5. Therefore, it's going to give you 5,000 meters as your answer. So it's going to be 5,000 meters for this one, 5,000 meters. For the next question, we are converting from centimeters into meters. In every meter, there are 100 centimeters. So if I've got 320 centimeters, it's going to be 3.2 meters then, because if you divide 320 by 100 to find out the scale between them, that's going to be 3.2. So this was multiplied with 3.2, and you're going to be multiplying this with 3.2, so that's going to give you 3.2 meters. In every centimeter there are 10 millimeters, and if we are going with 67.2 centimeters, we're going to be timesing, so we multiply 1 by 67.2, so you do the same thing over here, 67.2. so when 67.2 is multiplied by 10, that's going to give you 672 millimeters, and that's going to be your answer. This is your answer, and this is your answer for this one. If I just move to the right hand side, it's asking us to write 4 out of 9 as an improper fraction. So it's going to be, your denominator will stay the same, and we're going to be doing 9 times 1, and we'll be adding 4 to it. So 9 times 1 is 9, add 4 to it is going to give you 13, so you're going to have 13 out of 9. And converting 47 out of 8 to a mixed number is going to be 8 times something to give you a number that's close to 47. And then we're going to be adding something on top to make it 47. So I know 8 times 5 is going to give me 40. And then if I add 7 to it, that's going to be 47 out of 8. So that's going to be my final answer. Moving along to my negative numbers, 6 take away 7. So this means 6 is a positive, 7 is a negative. So you've got £6 in your pocket, you owe someone £7. That means you need to pay them £1 more. So positive and negative, you're adding -5 to a 3, so that's going to be -2, negative, positive, 9 plus 4 is going to give you 13, -6 plus 2. It's the same thing as if you were to just write it down this way around. It's the exact same thing. So it's going to be -4, because you need to pay £6 for someone, and you've got £2 in your pocket. When you pay the £2, there's only going to be 4 more left for you to pay. Parts of a circle, we all know all around the circle is called the circumference. This section here is called the tangent. Tangent is a line that just slightly touches the circumference and just carries on. This section here is your slice of pizza, that's going to be the sector. Of course, this section is coming from the center of the circle, and it's going to the circumference, and it's going to be radius. This here, it looks like a diameter, but it's not going through the center, so it's gonna be a chord, and this slice here is called a segment. There you go. Right, carrying on with more fluency questions. I'm going to start off with the top left again. It says shade 10% of this grid. So I'm just going to quickly count how many squares I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. There are 20 of them. And if there are 20 boxes, we want 10% of that 20. 20 divided by 10 is 2, so I want to shade 2 boxes, and that's going to be the 10%. So you could just shade any 2 boxes, by the way. I'm just shading these 2 here. What is 1 out of 4 as a percentage? 1 out of 4 means quarter, so that's like 25%. 0.25, 25%. 0.85 as a fraction in its simplest form. 0.85 is 85 out of 100. In its simplest form, so what we are going to need to do is we're going to need to simplify this. You can divide it by 5, and you can divide it again. So 85 divided by 5 is going to be, if I divide by 5, it's going to be 17, and 100 divided by 5 is going to be 20, and that's going to be the simplest form. I can't really simplify it any further. So 17 out of 20 is my answer. Next question is, here's a calculation. 31 times 84 is going to be 2,604. 2,604 divided by 84, so we're just doing the inverse. It's going to give you 31 then for this section. The next one is going to be 3.1 times 8.4, so it's the exact same thing as this, but then there are 2 decimal places that needs to be involved, so therefore it's going to be 26.04. 31 times 85, so what you guys could do actually is you could just write down the column method and do the multiplication as well, but I would recommend you to just think about this logically. So what I mean by that is that you've got 84 lots of 31. You are now going to have 85 lots of 31, or 31 lots of 85. You can just think of it either way around. So there are 84 lots of 31, 85 lots of 31. So I'm going to be adding another 31 to it, basically, is what I'm saying. So it's going to be, if you add another 31 to 2,604, it's going to be 2,635. You could, of course, you could just write this down and multiply and get your answer as well. So it's the same thing. Right, we have some estimation questions. I mean, I'm always happy whenever students receive an estimation question in their exam when it's a non-calculator paper, because when they give it to you on a calculator paper, you guys tend to just type it in your calculator, and we don't want to do that. What you're trying to do for estimation is that you need to write these numbers to one significant figure. So 29 to one significant figure is going to be 30. 489 to one significant figure is going to be 500. Because this is the first significant figure, the number next to it is 8, that just brings the number up. This is the first significant figure, the number next to it is 9, that brings the number up. 1.9 squared is going to be 2 squared. So I'm going to be doing 3 times 5, that's 15, with 3 zeros next to it. And then we're going to be dividing it by 2 squared, which is 4. So we're dividing it by 4. So 15,000 divided by 4, what you could do is you could just half it and half it again, and that's going to be 3,750. Okay. Now, the next one is going to be 9,174 divided by 11. I would recommend everyone to do the bus stop method. Okay. So the first number I can times with 11 is going to be 8, because if I do 9, it's going to be 99, it's going to be over 91. 8 times 11 is going to give me 88. Take it away. And that's going to give us 374. And then I can do 3 times 11, that's going to be 33. Take it away. That's 44 left. And 4, that's going to give us 44. As soon as we end up with 0, 0, that's going to be our answer. So it's going to be 834. Next question is, the only animals on a farm are 30 cows and 80 sheep. 1 out of 5 of the 30 cows are sold, and 5 out of 8 of the 80 sheep are sold. Work out the total number of animals that are sold. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to be finding out 1 out of 5 of 30. Remember, of in maths means multiplication, so you're going to be doing fifth of 30. So you're going to be finding 1 out of 5 of 30. So you're simply dividing it by 5. That's going to be 6. I'm just going to write down what they are, cows. And then 5 out of 8 times 80. So you divide it by 8 and times it by 5. 80 divided by 8 is going to give you 10. Times it by 5 is going to be 50. And 50 plus 6, there are 56 animals that are sold. Right, so this slide here is going to be the majority of the algebra questions that I'm going to go through with you. So simplify fully. So we know we're going to be collecting like terms. We've got 9x. We're going to be taking away 6x. So that's going to be 3x. We've got y, and we're going to be adding y. So that's going to be 2y and not y squared. Simplify fully, 1 out of 3 times 6t. Remember guys, this is the exact same thing as 1 out of 3 times 6t out of 1. And when we're multiplying fractions, we just times the denominators and numerators. So 1 times 6t is going to be 6t, divided by 3 times 1 is going to be 3. They ask us to simplify this fully. 6t divided by 3 is going to be 2t, because there are 2 3's in 6 and 1 3 in 3. A times A is going to give us A cubed, and B plus B is going to give us 2B. And that's our answer for that question. So Emma tries to simplify CD times 2. Here is her method. Okay, so C times 2 is 2C, D times 2 is 2D, 2C times 2D is equal to 4CD. What is wrong with her method? Well, she multiplied C and D separately with 2, so she can't really do that. So CD times 2 is going to be 2CD and not 4CD. She multiplied each term with 2, then multiplied the terms again, which is wrong. Okay, next question. Multiply out 5x. 5x outside the bracket, you've got 3x, take away 2 inside. So 5x times 3x. 5 times 3 is going to be 15. X times x is going to be x squared. 5x times 2, so that's going to be negative 10x, and we're just going to leave it there. Expand and simplify fully, so let's just expand these first. 4 times 2c is going to give us 8c. 4 times 3 is going to give us 12. This is, if there is no numerical value in front of a fraction, I'm saying the bracket, there is 1. So that means you're going to be doing negative 1 times 5c, so that's going to be negative 5c. Negative 1 times negative 1, that's going to be a positive 1. So we can collect the like terms now. We've got 8c, take away 5c, that's going to be 3c. And then we've got 12 plus 1, that's going to be 13. Next one's asking us to factorize fully, so 2 and 6. The highest factor that goes into both of them is going to be 2, and then x, we've got x that goes into both of them. So we've got 2x times x, that's going to give us 2x squared, plus 2x times 3, that's going to be 6x. So this is the fully factorized version of this. Okay, so on this slide we've got some mixture of questions really. So draw a bar chart for this information. When I look at the frequency, I can see it's from 1 to 7, so I can just do, just in case, I can just do from 0 to 8 perhaps. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different subjects categories. So it's a bar chart, so that means that there should be equal gaps between them. So I'm going to be doing maths all the way up to 6. So imagine if I've got maths in here. Maths. I'm going to leave a gap, so 1 square gap in between. I'm going to write English here. That's going to be 4. And then history is going up to 1. And then we've got geography. Can you just pay attention to this, please, guys? That I'm just leaving equal gaps between them. And geography is going to go up to 7. And geography is here. Okay. Draw on all lines of symmetry. Okay. So lines of symmetry, if I was to cut this shape through here, it will fold onto itself. If I cut it through here, the two faces will land onto itself. It would work out if I do it this way and this way for this. So these are the lines of symmetry of these two shapes. Work out the midpoint of 5, 6 and -3, 0. So remember, when you're finding the midpoint of two coordinates, you add them up and half it. So for the x-axis, we're going to be doing 5 plus -3 and then half it. So I'm just going to write it down like this first, and then we can write down the answer in the end. So it's going to be 5 plus -3 and then half it. And then we're going to be doing 6 plus 0 and then half it. So we're doing the y-axis together and half it, and then it will give you the midpoint of those 2 points. So 5 take away 3 is 2, divided by 2 is going to give you 1. 6 plus 0 is 6, divided by 2 is half of 6 is 3. So these are the 2 midpoints we have. Next question, complete the frequency tree. So we need to remember, with the frequency tree, these 2 arms here will add to give you the previous number. So you've got 30. You've got 14 and something to give you 30. So this something needs to be 16, 10, 20, 26, 30, yeah, 16, 26, 30. And then you've got 3 here. This means this is going to be 11. You've got 10 here. This means this section is going to be 6. Okay. Now it says a student is selected at random from the class. Write down the probability that they are a male who was on time. Male who was on time, so that's 11, so that's male on time is 11 out of 30, because 30 is the total number of students and they're picking it from random. So write as a power of 3. Oh, I like this question. So 3 to the 4 to the 3. Remember, when you have power to a power, you times these 2 powers to get the new power. So that's going to be 3 to the 12 times 3 to the 3 divided by 3 to the 5. When you're multiplying them and we've got the same base, you add the powers. So that's going to be 3 to the 15 out of 3 to the 5. And this is division. So 3 to the 15 divided by 3 to the 5, which I can just write it down like this. 3 to the 15 divided by 3 to the 5. When you're dividing, you subtract the powers, and that's going to be 3 to the 10. And we're writing it down as a power of 3. Sometimes they give you questions like this and they say, can you write down the value of? That would mean that if you end up with 3 to the 10 or 3 to, they usually end up with 3 to the 3, 3 to the 4-ish. And what you need to do is you need to figure out what that value is. You need to do 3 times 3 times 3. So read the question carefully. If it's asking you to write it down as a power of 3, you leave it here. If it says work out the value of, you need to find out what 3 to the power of 10 is. Next question is find the nth term, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. With the nth term, this is a linear sequence. So it's adding 3 each time, isn't it? So it's going to be 3n take away 3 is going to be 4, and then that's going to be plus 4, 3n plus 4. How can I check? I can do 3 times 1 plus the 4, and it needs to give me the first term. I can do 3 times 2, which is the second term, plus 4, and it needs to give me 10, which it does. Okay, so that's how we can do this question. This is the nth term for this arithmetic sequence. So write down the order of rotational symmetry of these shapes. With the rotational symmetry, what you need to think about is you're rotating this shape. Imagine you're just turning this shape around, and how many times can it land onto itself? With these type of questions, with regular shapes, it's usually how many sides you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be 5 for this one. And with this shape, if I rotate this, I know this bit will land onto here, and if I rotate it again, it will land back onto itself. So it's going to be rotational symmetry of 2 for that one. So this is where we are going to be actually finishing all the questions, guys, and this is your warm-up for your first paper. So good luck with your exam.